Hey guys! I wrote that poem last night. Poetry for me is my outlet. It's an expression of what I'm feeling, and just remembering last night that today was 10 years for me. Um, you know, I had to get that out, I guess, and you know, it's been 10 years. Like, I've been clean 10 years, and I feel like that's a really big deal. So I felt like I needed to say something. Um, for anybody out there that's fighting addiction, or you're active in your addiction, or you're, thinking about getting clean, but you haven't, or you are clean, but you're fighting a relapse, just keep moving forward and don't give up, because it's pretty normal in this process for it to take you more than one time. It took me several different ways before I finally figured out what would work for me. And not just figuring out what would work, because sometimes, a program that we use might not work one time, but it could be because we're not ready to let it work yet. Um, so, just don't give up. And if anyone tells you to just move forward, don't look back. I think it's really important when being an addict and fighting addiction to look back, because for me, and for what I know about a lot of other people, often one of the reasons why we're using is because something in our past or feelings that we haven't dealt with. So we need to look back and remember those feelings, remember those situations, and face them fierce and head on, and be a beast, and don't be afraid anymore, and remember where we came from and where we don't want to be ever again. Like, for me, 2 weeks prior to today, 10 years ago, I was in the darkest time ever in my life. I had failed many times at trying to be clean. I was in an outpatient program and I wasn't clean. I was, like 2 months pregnant. I kept trying to stop using and I couldn't. And I had lost everything. And they say sometimes you gotta really hit rock bottom. And, sometimes when you use, you think it's bad. You think you can go back and, use the drugs again, but this time you can control yourself because you've learned some things and blah, blah. I think that's not true. Oh, well, I know from experience, and I've never heard someone say that the next time they started using it was okay. Because it's not. It gets worse every time. You get deeper and deeper, and you use more and more, and your situations get darker and darker because you're continuing to run from facing those demons of your past and those feelings. Because for me, I used so that I didn't have to feel. My feelings were being high. I even learned during my addiction that I didn't know how to identify my feelings because I always masked them with drugs. I didn't let myself feel. I just knew that I was angry and hurt, and I just felt bad, but I didn't know why, or I couldn't pinpoint anything. So I had to retrain my mind and my body to recognize what I was feeling so that I could deal with those things. And it was the hardest thing I ever had to do, getting clean. I entered into a program 9 years ago today. 10 years ago today. I've been out for 9 years. And it changed my life forever. And I often remember where I came from, because for me, that is one of my biggest motivations. I never want to feel the way I felt a few days prior to 10 years ago today. Ever. I considered committing suicide. I wanted to die. I had lost everything. I had no one. My friends and family were mad at me, except for the friends that I used with, because they were probably in the same situation as me. But I had no one, and I had lost everything, and I was alone, and I never thought I'd have enough guts to even consider it. And, I was asking myself, can I do this? And I almost had a miscarriage, and I was in the hospital, and I had to have an ultrasound, and I saw my little peanut with little nubby arms and legs and beady alien eyes and beating heart, and I just cried because I couldn't stop using, and I knew that I had to take care of this baby. That was one of those defining moments for me. And the ultrasound tech said, I don't know if I should be saying this right now, but God never gives us more than we can handle. And I just feel like I can tell you that. And, I just cried because, I needed to hear that. Sorry, I'm probably ugly when I'm crying. I'm going to try not to do that. But, I went home and I dropped to my knees and I prayed. And I just begged God to please just take me out of this. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to die. I know I have people who need, but I just don't know how I can go on living like this. And, a few days later, I was accepted into a program for mothers and children, and I lived there for a year and 5 days. It was a really long time, which is why it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do, and would have to give them a run for their money, because when you decide to get clean, it's because, you're really ready. It has to be because you're ready. You can be forced to do anything. But if you're not ready, it doesn't matter. And I was ready. I was in despair, and I just couldn't imagine continuing to live like that, because I think I would have died. And there was too many people who still needed me, and they needed me clean and sober and rational and in my right mind. And so be transparent and be strong, and don't be afraid to look in the mirror and look at yourself, and you're not gonna like what you see, and you're gonna have to let go of your pride, and you're gonna have to take responsibility for who you are and what you've been doing. And you can't blame your past. You can't say it's because of this, because of that, it's because of my mom, it's because of my dad. One of the biggest things that I remember, which was something that's always stuck with me, one of my, the program director for my rehab program told me that, when we turn 18 and we move out of mommy and daddy's house, we become adults. We become responsible for ourselves. And we kind of have to parent ourselves all over again. We can't continue to blame our past or our childhood. And oftentimes our anger is misguided and misplaced, and we're just looking for outlets to avoid taking responsibility. And, as an adult, I knew that, it was time to make my own choices and to make myself grow up, and that's what you have to do. Don't give up, and don't think that if you relapse, it's too late, because it took me a lot of times before I finally got it. Just keep fighting that fight, and be real about it. Be real with yourself more than anything. Even if there's something you're so ashamed of, you have to write it in a diary. Just be real, and at least admitting it to yourself and taking responsibility is a big deal. So here I am 10 years, and I, 2 weeks ago, I finished working towards my associate's degree, and, I dropped out of high school. I did get my GED, but then I went to college and I dropped out of that. I've never wore a cap and gown and had someone hand me a diploma. And, that's a really big deal to me. And, I kind of feel like a little kid. I'm excited. And it's all a product of me moving forward with my life. Me deciding that it was time to change. Because I know that if I had not got clean, I would not be saying this right now. I would not have graduated college at 35 years old. No. I don't even know where I'd be. And that's a really big deal. It's been a decade. A freaking decade, you guys. That's a really big deal. And I think I said it, if you know what it's like to fight this battle, this is a huge deal. And every year the We're Clean is a birthday. It's a day to freaking celebrate, because when you look at where you are now and where you were, that's a big deal. And don't ever go back to that. And just remember your alternatives and move forward with your life and look around you and remember that you're blessed and there's so much good you could focus on and so much negative that you can let go of, that you can face and make better. It's not going to be easy. You're still going to fight a lot of battles along the way, and there's going to be days that you cry, and there's going to be days that you remember your pain and the things that happened, and depending on what you went through in your addiction, and for me, it's often incomprehensible for people to even fathom that, someone could experience certain things, and it's going to hurt, but you have to be okay, and you have to let yourself cry, and you have to feel that pain and just let it all out. I mean, sometimes I cried for days remembering my past as throughout this last 10 years. And, since I've been in treatment. And it's gotten easier and easier. We can't ever forget where we came from, because it only speaks volumes for the fact that you're a testament to this bigger and better and stronger person that you are and that you will become. The promises work if you work it. Like they say, keep coming back. It works if you work it. And that's true. So keep fighting the good fight. I've been clean for 10 years and I'm really excited. And today is going to be an amazing day and an amazing year. And I want the same for everybody else out there. And yeah, that's it. Have a good freaking day, y'all. Bye.